Introduction. You probably think you're doing okay for your age. Maybe your doctor said you're fine. Maybe your friends say you look young. But here's the brutal truth. Rapid aging doesn't announce itself with sirens. It creeps in, quietly, subtly, and before you know it, you're not just aging, you're declining. Not gracefully, but dangerously. If you're over 65 and you're missing even one of these early signs, your body might already be giving up. And no one has told you. Until now. We're about to walk you through 7 early warning signs of accelerated aging. Signs that most seniors ignore, dismiss, or confuse with normal aging. They're not. These are silent red flags. Each one is a doorway, either to deterioration or to a second chance. And you need to pay attention. 1. You wake up tired, even after 8 hours of sleep. You went to bed early. You avoided caffeine. You even tried sleeping pills. But somehow, every morning you wake up with the same crushing fatigue. Your body feels heavy. Your mind is foggy. And deep down, you know, this isn't normal. This is one of the earliest and most overlooked signs of rapid aging. When your body fails to feel restored after sleep, it's not just part of getting older. It's your body quietly waving a red flag. Something inside is breaking down. The most common cause? Mitochondrial decline. These microscopic powerhouses inside your cells produce the energy you need to move, think, and even heal. But after 65, mitochondrial function often drops off a cliff, especially if you're sedentary, undernourished, or chronically stressed. The result? You can sleep 10 hours and still feel like you ran a marathon. Worse still, that constant tiredness sets off a chain reaction. You move less, you socialize less, your metabolism slows, your immune system weakens, and your brain? It starts losing sharpness faster than you realize. Fatigue is not just inconvenient, it's a trap, and if you don't climb out, it can pull the rest of your health down with it. But here's the good news. This is reversible. First, stop blaming your age. Demand real answers. Get your thyroid, B12, iron, and cortisol levels tested. Add gentle morning movement. Even 5 minutes of stretching can jumpstart cellular energy. Hydrate immediately after waking. Reduce sugar and ultra-processed foods. They suffocate your mitochondria. And most importantly, don't ignore it. You're not just tired, you're being warned. And the longer you pretend it's nothing, the deeper the damage becomes. This isn't just about energy. This is about survival. 2. Sudden weight loss or gain without clear reason. Your clothes don't fit like they used to. The scale is shifting, but you haven't changed your diet, your routine, or your habits. And instead of asking why, you tell yourself, that's just aging. But here's the brutal truth. Sudden, unexplained weight change after 65 is rarely harmless. In fact, it's often the body's first desperate signal that something much deeper and more dangerous is happening beneath the surface. Unintentional weight loss could mean your body is breaking down muscle tissue instead of fat. This is called sarcopenia, and it's not just about appearance, it's about survival. Losing muscle means losing strength, stability, and protection. A simple fall could become a death sentence. It could also mean digestive malfunction, thyroid issues, or even hidden cancers silently progressing inside your organs. On the other hand, sudden weight gain, especially around the abdomen, could signal insulin resistance, metabolic syndrome, or early-stage type 2 diabetes. And don't think a few pounds is no big deal. In older adults, even a 5-10 pound gain can dramatically raise your risk of heart failure and stroke. Worst of all, most doctors brush it off. They assume it's normal. But it's not. It's a breakdown in your metabolic rhythm, and if ignored, it spirals. What to do immediately? Track your weight weekly. If you gain or lose more than 3 to 5 pounds without explanation in a month, act. Insist on a full metabolic panel, A1C, thyroid hormones, CRP, inflammation marker, liver enzymes. Do not settle for a basic checkup. Your body is talking, whispering at first, then screaming. If you don't listen, you may only hear it again in the emergency room. You think it's just weight, but it could be the first symptom of the end. 3. Social withdrawal. You just don't feel like talking anymore. You stop answering phone calls. You avoid gatherings. You tell people, "I'm just tired," or "I like my peace and quiet." But deep down, a small voice asks, "Why don't I feel like being around anyone anymore?" This isn't just a mood. This is a symptom, and it's far more dangerous than it seems. Social withdrawal after 65 is a clinical red flag. It often signals the early onset of cognitive decline, including dementia and depression. And tragically, it's often mistaken for natural aging. What's happening under the surface? Your brain's dopamine and serotonin production begins to slow. These are the very chemicals that fuel motivation, joy, connection. As they fade, so does your will to engage. Your neurons start to fire less, your thinking becomes sluggish, and your personality, the very core of who you are, begins to dull. And then the worst part happens. No one notices. Or worse, they do. And they silently back away. Friends stop calling. Family gets busy. And just like that, you're alone. Not because they don't care, but because they think you don't. The consequence? Isolation in seniors increases the risk of early death by up to 60%, according to studies. It doubles the likelihood of dementia. It speeds up cardiovascular decline. But you can reverse it. Start small. Say yes to one invitation. Call one old friend. Join one local group, even online. Force yourself if you have to, because your brain depends on it. And don't wait until it feels easy. It won't. It's not supposed to. Social withdrawal isn't peaceful. It's silent decay. And if you let it take root, it will quietly erase you from the world before your body ever gives out. You think you want to be alone, but it's not you talking anymore. 4. You've stopped noticing small details, and that's deadly. You used to catch every little thing: a misplaced photo frame, a wrong lyric, a missed birthday. Now, you overlook details. You miss appointments. You forget names. Maybe even leave the stove on. It seems harmless. You laugh it off. Just getting old, you say. But this isn't a joke. This is how the mind starts to vanish. Slowly, quietly, almost politely. Missing small details is not normal aging. It's often the earliest indicator of executive function decline, a form of cognitive breakdown that affects planning, attention, and decision-making. And once it begins, the damage builds faster than you realize. Here's what most people miss. The brain doesn't collapse all at once. It erodes in layers. First, your short-term memory stumbles. Then you lose mental flexibility. Then focus. Then language. And by the time you finally notice something seriously wrong, years have already been lost. Real story. Alan, 70, used to correct every fact in conversations. A walking encyclopedia. But his wife noticed something. He stopped correcting her. He let mistakes go. When she asked him why, he just smiled and said, "I guess it doesn't matter." Within months, he was misplacing his car, then forgetting how to get home. By the time they sought help, it was too late. What you must do: track every time you forget something, even tiny slips. Don't ignore patterns. Ask your family to gently flag when they notice changes. Most of all, stimulate your brain like it's a muscle. Puzzles, books, conversations, even changing daily routines can reboot your neural pathways. The small things do matter. They're the cracks in the dam. And once the cracks widen, there's no stopping the flood. You're not just distracted. You're being warned. 5. Frequent digestive issues and brushing them off. You feel bloated after meals, gassy for no reason. Constipated one day, running to the bathroom the next. You joke about it with friends. Just the joys of aging, you say. But here's the terrifying truth. Those digestive issues aren't harmless. They're dangerous warning signs, and most seniors ignore them until it's too late. After 65, your digestive system becomes more fragile than you think. Enzyme production drops, gut lining thins. The balance of good and bad bacteria shifts dramatically. And once that balance is disturbed, the consequences ripple through every system in your body. Why it matters: your gut is not just a food processor, it's your second brain. Over 70% of your immune system lives in your digestive tract. If your gut is inflamed or imbalanced, you're not just uncomfortable, you're vulnerable to infection, to chronic disease, to mental decline. Recent studies have linked chronic gut issues to Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, arthritis, even depression. Yes, your brain fog might not be normal. It might be coming from your colon. But what do most seniors do? They pop antacids, ignore food triggers, shrug it off, all while their gut barrier breaks down and toxins silently seep into their bloodstream, triggering inflammation in the joints, brain, and heart. The reality? If your digestion is off, your health is already compromised. This is not just a stomach problem. This is the beginning of systemic decline. What you can do immediately: cut processed foods, eliminate refined sugars, reintroduce natural fiber, not powders but real food, leafy greens, berries, legumes. Add a high-quality probiotic, and most importantly, listen to your gut. That discomfort? It's a distress signal. Ignore it long enough and you won't just feel worse. You'll become worse. One small symptom today can become a full-body crisis tomorrow. 6. You've stopped setting goals, even small ones. You used to plan your week, make to-do lists, look forward to things. Now, the calendar is blank. No trips, no hobbies, no curiosity. You move through the days without expectation, just existing. And the worst part? You've convinced yourself that this is peace. But it's not. It's surrender. And it's one of the most dangerous signs of rapid aging. When you stop setting goals, even tiny ones, your brain begins to shut down its future planning centers. Neurologically, this is a collapse in executive function, the very part of your brain responsible for motivation, memory, and long-term decision-making. What's really happening? Your dopamine levels drop. Without new challenges, your brain stops producing the chemicals that make you feel alive. Your sense of time blurs. Days merge, and the mind, once sharp and hungry, begins to dull. This isn't about ambition. It's about survival. People who stop setting goals after 65 experience significantly faster cognitive and physical decline. They lose the drive to move, to connect, to fight. Their immune system weakens, their posture slouches, and silently, without warning, they slip into depression masked as acceptance. But here's the hope. The brain can be reactivated, even after long periods of stagnation. All it takes is one thing to look forward to. One small goal. One spark. What to do now? Don't overthink it. Plan a walk. Start a small project. Try a new recipe. Write a letter. Plant something. Give yourself something to reach for. Not because you need to achieve greatness, but because your life needs motion to keep going. Without goals, the future disappears. And when the future disappears, the body follows. Don't drift toward the end. Steer, even if it's just 1 inch at a time. 7. You think, it's just old age. And that thought alone is killing you. Of all the dangerous signs on this list, this one is the most subtle and the most fatal. Because once this idea takes root, it's just old age. It becomes the excuse for everything. You're tired? Just old age. You've lost strength? Just old age. You forget names, lose balance, feel off? It's normal. But it's not. That phrase, repeated over and over, is a mental poison, a quiet resignation, a green light to decay, and the longer you believe it, the faster you decline. Here's the raw truth. Aging is unavoidable, but rapid deterioration? That's optional. And if you've convinced yourself that everything bad that's happening to your body is just part of the process, you've already stopped fighting. You've already given up the only real weapon you had. Hope tied to action. This mindset is what lands people in nursing homes, not diseases, defeat. The slow, daily surrender of responsibility for your own body and mind. Worse still, your loved ones notice. They see the difference. They hear the excuses. And over time, they stop pushing you, because you've already decided the outcome. What they won't say out loud is that they're scared. Scared of watching someone they love fade before they're gone. But you can rewrite the ending. The first step? Eliminate the phrase, just old age, from your vocabulary. Replace it with, why is this happening? What can I do to change it? Who can help me fix this? Because here's the truth no one wants to say. Old age doesn't kill you. Neglect does. And if you don't fight for your health now, you won't get the chance later. You're not too old. You're just out of time to keep waiting.